All right, good evening, guys. We'd like to welcome you to this stream. We're going to talk about this beautiful little girl right here. And we did this story a little while back when it first happened, and we had very high hopes that we were going to be able to find this young girl. And I have to deliver more bad news. Not only did they find Cupcake, and Cupcake was dead, she was murdered, but they also found this little girl who they were trying to find, but they found her body, her 5-year-old body, in a landfill. The body of a 5-year-old girl suspected to have been fatally stabbed by her mother's boyfriend. And I've talked about this plenty of times, about these mothers having these random dudes around your children. This baby and the mom was stabbed by the mother's boyfriend in August. It has been recovered in a landfill in South Carolina. That is a screenshot of the original story that I did. So if you go back and watch that story, then you'll kind of see some of the things that I discussed. But after sifting through millions of pounds of trash, the investigators announced that they located Nevaeh Adams' remains on Friday evening after more than a month of combing through a junkyard. First and foremost, I don't know if you guys really understand how difficult that is to sort through a landfill, but they sorted through 4 million pounds of trash to find a 5-year-old baby's body. Can y'all imagine that? Imagine the smell. I want you guys to imagine how much stuff every day that you take and put in your trash can, your trash bags, your all of the things that you throw away that you consider to be trash, whether it be bad food, diapers, or whatever it is. And we take that stuff and we throw it in a bigger trash can. Then they turn around and take that bigger trash can and dump it inside of a garbage truck. Then they take that garbage truck and then go dump it inside the city landfill. And they do that weekly. Millions and millions of pounds of trash. They had to sort through 4 million pounds of trash to find this body behind. This is the man that we believe to be responsible, this evil son of a bitch right here. That dude. I want you to remember that face because we're going to talk about this, okay? So y'all got to forgive my language, but I'm going to be very blunt, and I hope that you guys understand where I'm coming from. I'm a father, so I'm going to speak about this very, very bluntly, okay? The child, along with her mother by the name of Cherie Bradley, were allegedly stabbed to death by the woman's boyfriend by the name of Dante Maurice Johnson in August. And that's alleged because they haven't actually convicted him in court just yet, okay? This is not the outcome that any of us would have wanted, but we hope this can provide some closure to the family, said Sumter Police Chief Russell Rourke in a police press report. The local community and the state as a whole have been profoundly impacted by this case, Rourke added. It is our hope that the recovery of Nevaeh will provide a sense of peace to her family, the community, and hundreds of men and women who participated in the effort. Since September the 17th, search teams have scoured an estimated 4 million pounds of garbage in their exhaustive efforts or search. Nearly 400 people and 40 agencies, including dozens of fire and police departments, as well as National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, assisted in locating the remains and the body of this 5-year-old girl. They quote, "I'm very glad for the family that they're going to have an opportunity to give Nevaeh a proper homegoing service instead of having to worry and fret over the unknown location of where she was," Ernest Finney III of Sumner County 3rd Circuit Solicitor told the news. Excuse me. Now, I want you guys to also know this. They were able to determine that it was Nevaeh by way of DNA. So they confirmed it, okay? They said also, "We now have her remains and we can tie that down, and that is going to help tremendously with the preparation of a case," he added. "The manner in which the deaths occurred is very horrific, and we're going to process the case and give the family every hope that they're going to find justice in the end of this process." Now, around 6 p.m. on August the 5th, a property manager at Lantana Apartments in Sumner, a small city of roughly about 40,000 people, about 100 miles northwest of Charleston, called the police after discovering the body of Nevaeh's mother. Her corpse, which investigators said could have laid idle in the apartment for up to 12 hours prior to its discovery, had been stuffed in a carpet, said officials. Wow. The dead body of the victim was discovered in the apartment, bloody and wrapped up in a large rug with an apparent compromise to the integrity of her face and skull. Authorities apprehended Johnson, who was the woman's boyfriend, nearby. The 28-year-old allegedly confessed. He confessed, allegedly, to killing Bradley as well as baby Nevaeh, who he admitted to stabbing to death with a large folding knife, according to a separate police incident report. Johnson was charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of possession of a weapon during a violent crime in connection to the slayings. Detectives collected blood samples at the scene that belonged to both Nevaeh and her mother, but the child was nowhere to be found. Johnson allegedly admitted that he had disposed of Nevaeh's body in a trash dumpster. But by the time authorities received that information, waste disposal trucks had hauled the girl's remains to a Richland County garbage dump. And it's sad to think that that's what we think about human life. People like this can just toss an innocent, beautiful baby girl who couldn't speak for herself or defend herself. And he thought so little of that little girl right there to just throw her away like leftover food. And that absolutely breaks my heart, man. Okay. Now, again, if you guys are watching, if you would, please click the thumbs up. Please share the stream and let other people know that we're live. We'll tell the story as quickly as we possibly can and let you guys get back to your day. Okay. But if you would, make sure and please click that thumbs up. Okay. Now, blood evidence collected at the scene and analyzed by South Carolina Law Enforcement Division was found to belong to both the victim as well as her mother, corroborating the defendant's confession, the arrest affidavit stated. Forensic investigators later concluded that both the mother and the daughter died from blunt and sharp force injuries to the head and to the neck. Okay? To the head and neck, blunt force, sharp injuries. Anytime a child is murdered, especially in such a heinous fashion, and especially discarded in trash, this is a tragedy. It's a nightmare this family has been living, and the family's lawyer, by way of, his name is Garrel Dees, and he told that to the news. Dees, who applauded the state and local authority efforts, described the search as an immense and daunting task. And I want y'all to look at this evil creature's face, man, like he don't even seem human to me. They took on the task of trying to find the body of the 5-year-old innocent child amongst 4 million pounds of waste and trash, Dees described. And that's simply being tasked with the responsibility of finding a needle in a haystack. That's literally what they did. The family, he said, can now move forward with the grieving process as they prepare to memorialize this beautiful baby that you see on my screen. They're hurting, they're emotionally distraught, and they're struggling with this situation on a daily basis. Not only did they lose the mother of Nevaeh, now they know Nevaeh was brutally murdered as well. Right now, their emotions are pretty raw and they are hurting. They're holding on, but they are definitely in need of prayer and support from the community. Now, police also charged Johnson with possession of a stolen vehicle, which they say belonged to a dead woman. He was charged with a stolen vehicle, which they say belonged to a dead woman in Missouri, who the 28-year-old is also accused of killing. My goodness. The type of boyfriends that these mothers are choosing, they are choosing thugs. Isn't that something? Hood chicks love hood dick. Can we get that in the chat? Y'all remember that hashtag? Hood chicks love hood dick. And it cost this baby and the mother her life. And that's not fair to the child. If the parents want to, if the women want to put themselves in that situation, then I get it. I understand. But it's not fair if you have children to put your children in that situation in harm's way around somebody that they do not know and somebody who has proven themselves that they cannot be trusted. That is where I'm coming from. And I hope that people start listening to me as I continue to keep bringing you guys more of these stories. I literally cannot do all of the stories that people email me. It's too many of them. But they are all similar to this. And y'all look at that face because y'all be like, oh, he's cute. He out killing motherfuckers. Oh, he's cute. But that's who y'all procreating with, though. And killing your kids and killing everybody else. Usually they come from fatherless homes. They don't see any value in themselves because they didn't have an example in front of them to show them what they need to grow up into being. Therefore, they don't see value in themselves and they're going to go out into the world and wreak havoc on the world and not see value on anybody else's life. Okay? Now, Aaliyah Stanley, age 22, was shot in the head in June, according to WIS. Detectives said at the time that Bradley and Nevaeh's death, Johnson was trying to sell Stanley's red Toyota Camry in South Carolina. Man, isn't that crazy? He tried, excuse me, he tried to sell a dead woman's car. The dead Missouri woman's family told the local media that had authorities had been able to apprehend Johnson in St. Louis, potentially Bradley and Nevaeh's death could have been averted. That woman and her child might be alive if they had just got him when they tracked the car, Stanley's mother, Beverly Hill, told WIS. And I got to say, that's pretty big of her to say that. And I got to commend her again. Her name is Beverly Hill. I commend her for saying that. Her family said that even though my daughter is dead, if they had caught him back then maybe this particular situation didn't happen. And I got to commend her for saying that because that takes a lot of strength to be able to say that, right? Now, South Carolina prosecutors are now preparing an indictment against Johnson in the mother-daughter killing, which they hope to present to the grand jury by mid-December this year. Finney, the Third Circuit solicitor, said that he expected the case could go to trial by next summer. Johnson, who was denied bail, according to online court records, is being held at Sumter County Detention Facility. And this last part, the discovery of Nevaeh's body was announced the same day that authorities in Alabama say they believe that remains found in Birmingham were those of 3-year-old Camille Cupcake McKinney. The same day. Authorities say 2 suspects will be charged in connection with that particular case. Let me give you guys the fair use. Let's go ahead and get started. And I hear those donations coming in, and I thank you guys for at least supporting the channel. So I'm going to read those off here in just a moment. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. On-site April said the baby had nothing to do with it. Well, I totally agree with you. That's why I'm saying, as mothers, they want to punish the mother if the mother pisses these thugs off. So in order to punish the mother, they take it out on the mother and their kids. So if you know that that's what these thugs are going to do, then it is best that you keep your kids away from the people. So I'll give you a perfect example. You know lions. Well, lions bite. Lions are wild. Lions are just going to do some lion shit. You know, you jump down there in the lion pit, and sometimes they going to come up and bite the shit out you and drag you off. Why? Because that's what lions do. Are we going to get mad at the lion and put the lion down? Or are we going to just say, don't jump in the lion pit. Don't jump in the lion's den. Don't deal with lions, right? That's kind of where I'm coming from. So it's kind of an end-all, fix-all approach. Set your standards higher and don't deal with people who have those type of mentalities, right? He had already murdered. No, he murdered them. Okay, from my understanding, this is the crazy part because I'm not really sure. And you're asking good questions, April, so I'm okay with it. April asked, he already murdered the mom before the baby. The mom was dead from, well, we don't know. That's the catch. What we know is that he left the mom's body there. Maybe even he left the body there just because he physically couldn't pick the body up and take it and put it in the stolen car that he stole and go dump her in the trash can like he can a 5-year-old. So maybe it was just a matter of strength. He wasn't strong enough to pick up a heavy, dead body and dump her in a trash can, because I'm sure if he could have, he probably would have. So maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe Nevaeh was already dead, but we don't know because she was missing and everybody was just hoping maybe she was still alive. So let's try to find her. So that's kind of what we think so far. Let's keep going. And while you guys come in, click that thumbs up, continue. Like, even if you can't support financially, you can always support by way of just clicking the thumbs up as well. But I love the questions. You guys are doing an excellent job in the chat, by the way. Let's keep going.
During a press conference yesterday, Nevaeh's dad, Dupree Adams, says he now has closure knowing his daughter is in heaven.
Her last moments of going through whatever she went through, what was she thinking, what was she feeling? Those things is what breaks me down. But now that I know that, you know, she's with the Father, that weight is lifted off of me.
I mean, Nevaeh's dad was so strong yesterday. He said that yesterday was his first time crying, and he just feels like that weight has been lifted off his shoulder. He also went on to say that he has no harsh words for the man accused of taking his daughter's life. He said that he knows Dante Johnson and has spoken to him several times in the past. And if he gets the opportunity to talk to him again, all he wants to know is why and what was going on in that moment.
I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I want y'all to listen to his full interview. And like I said, I admire him for being so strong. And if you guys are watching, please click the thumbs up. Support our stream. I know a lot of you people just got here. So if you would, please make sure you click that thumbs up. Here's the full interview. You guys said you want to see the full interview. It's about 5 minutes long. And then I'll play you guys the police interview. And then that'll be it.
I really can't say it. The only thing I can go on is DNA. Once again, I'm not criticizing their efforts and I'm not criticizing what they've done. I thank them so much for the time they have spent out there. I'm so appreciative of what they've done out there. It's just that I have to settle for DNA. I wanted to be able to identify her a little bit more better. But if I got to settle for DNA, then I got to settle for DNA.
Shar, if you guys happen to run across those stories, then you can actually email them. I'd be more than happy to take a look at it if it's something you want me to look into. But my email address is DJJustJayOK, which Miss Parker Lynn has already posted that, which is right there. So yeah, if you come across the story, just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to take a look at it.
You know, that's the only thing I have, you know. I've seen the remains. The remains is not telling me that's her. It's not visually telling me that's her. So the only thing that I can go on is the DNA. I wanted to actually be able to identify my daughter. At least something that would tell me that, okay, that's Nevaeh. Besides DNA, you know. It will be. It will be. I'll settle for that. I'll settle for the DNA. It's not going to go any further than this anyway, so I'll just settle for that. If I had any more issues about the situation, I don't think it would go any further. So I'll just settle for the DNA. Well, Well, as far as me and my wife, we're okay. It's like I was telling everybody a while back. I settle with the good or the bad. I settle with that. If they found her and she's not here, then I settle with that. So we've been coming.
Yes, he had to view his baby in that, and it was so bad that he couldn't even figure out if that was actually his daughter or not. He couldn't make out what was actually her that he remembered last. That's sad, man.
Along, I get stronger every day. The more I cry, the more I get stronger. So I don't cry as much. That was the first time actually in there that I cried that hard in a couple of days. Even when I got the news and they told me about it, I didn't cry. I just wanted to see. Just let me see, and if I feel like, everything is what it is, then I'll cry. But I didn't cry. Just seeing everybody in there, everybody that helped, looking at the law enforcement, looking at.
Let me read Peach Cutie Pie's message. She said, "This is so sad. These babies could have had an amazing life. Keep doing what you're doing. Hashtag Peach Cutie Pie." And I want to thank you for that message. And I want you guys to think about this. Think about this. If the mother wanted to date that dude, Dante Maurice Johnson, could she not have just given custody of Nevaeh Adams to the father and his wife? But you know what? Because a lot of women, hashtag not all, but a lot of women just refuse to do that. They refuse to do that, and they refuse to give up the benefits that are attached to those children, which is called hashtag babies for benefits. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all might not like that I said that, but I had to say it. That baby would have been alive in his custody and in that household. Guarantee it. Guarantee it.
The construction workers, everybody that was lined up on that wall, that really touched me. Looking at the poster with all the names that was on there, that really touched me. But most of all, just seeing my daughter.
If my guy Troy is listening, Troy, I just got your PayPal, so thank you very much to Troy. If you're listening, brother, thank you. I want to say thank you very much.
That's what touched me. Just seeing her. So that was wild, the tears. I don't have any tears because of what they found. She's with the Father. She's in heaven. So if that's the case, then I know she's resting well, So I don't have any tears for that. I just have tears because I have to settle. So that's it. We're gonna have a memorial. I haven't decided when I'm gonna have a memorial, but we were gonna have an event, so I'm just gonna transfer everything that I was gonna do from the event to having a memorial. So I'll just get back with everybody on the date on that. It's gonna actually, when I do the memorial, it's gonna probably be in November. October's almost over. We got Halloween coming up, so I want to give everybody a chance to do their trick-or-treat thing. So when it's time for the memorial, I want to see everybody there. So it'll probably be in November sometime. So and everything.
Man, and listen to I want y'all to listen to what he's saying and how deep that is. He's saying he doesn't even want to ruin other people's holiday and their Halloween and let the kids have their fun. That's the strength of a father. That's a lot of strength right there. I gotta admit that.
Well, when the officer came to my door and he asked for 30 minutes of my time, I already knew. Also looking at the timeline, well, we're at the end of the 5 weeks, so it's either you're going to tell me something or you're going to tell me nothing. When he asked for 30 minutes of my time, I knew he was going to tell me either they found her or they didn't find her. But I kind of figured that they was going to tell me they found her. But when I went in there and they told me, there was no emotion. I didn't cry. Reason being because if she is gone, then I know she's in a better place. I rest with that. I'm good with that. After they told me that, the weight kind of lifted off of me a little bit, you know. Well, at least I know she's not out there being harmed, or, you know, so at least she's not going through that. And that was one of my biggest things, you know, wondering if she's out there, wondering if someone's harming her, you know, or if I'm going to see her again, you know. Those are one of my biggest things. Not the fact that
Katora, I know you might not maybe feel where he's coming from. I do kind of understand where he's coming from. I think what he's doing is, I just think he's just being selfless right now. And then you also have to remember, think about what his daughter's name stands for. Nevaeh. It's heaven backwards. And he said that he's okay with it because he knows that his daughter is in heaven. Keep in mind that his daughter's name is heaven spelled backwards. So he sounds like a religious man, and it seems that religious people seem to have a lot of peace about being able to deal with very, very difficult life things like this. I'm just saying. So I don't know, but I do understand if some people still might not see it the same way, and that's okay though. So it's all good. Let's listen at this. Then we got one more video I'm gonna play right after this one.
She might be dead. It's just the fact that what she's going through, her last moments of going through whatever she went through, what was she thinking, what was she feeling? Those things is what breaks me down. But now that I know that, you know, she's with the Father, that weight is lifted off of me, you know. Not saying that I'm not going to shed tears, not saying that I'm not going to cry for my daughter, because, you know, I see my daughter running around my house. You know, I see her outside. I got a car in there that Power Wheel cars that reminds me of her being in it. So I'm going to shed those tears. I got pictures. I got pictures that she recorded before she went home. So I have those pictures.
Okay, now that's where they cut it. Now I got this one more video here real quick, and then we'll wrap up right here. Now it's kind of long, but I'm going to make this one really, really short.
Landtown Apartments. Landtown, whereby described a body wrapped in a rug.
Let me back it up a little bit. I want y'all to hear most of this.
Overview. He was the OIC of the operation at the landfill. Mr. Gerald Dees to my right will speak on behalf of the family, and will follow Major Robertson. Solicitor Finney will follow Mr. Dees, followed by Mayor McElveen, Mayor Joseph McElveen from the city of Sumter. I would ask that if you could hold all of your questions until the entire presentation is made, and then we'll come back and answer whatever questions we can based on what you're asking. So to take us back to August the 5th of this year was a day that changed this community, a day that impacted two families, a day that impacted all of these officers and first responders. At approximately 6 p.m. on the 5th of August, the Sumter Police Department was notified by a caller from the Landtown Apartments, whereby described a body wrapped in a rug within an apartment. Responding officers arrived on scene and discovered what was later to be determined Cherie Bradley. Persons in the area of the apartment complex pointed out an individual that appeared to be trying to get away from the scene. He was shortly located and apprehended at a home on Susie Rimbert, which is within the area of Landtown Apartments. He was identified as Dante Johnson. Johnson was identified by persons in the immediate area as some.
If you guys are watching, please make sure you click that thumbs up. Let me also say thank you to Jimmy D. Jimmy D, if you're listening, I'm not sure if you're in the chat, but thank you, Jimmy D, for your donation. I don't know if I told you thank you, but I just got it in. So thank you, Jimmy D.
Someone that had been acquaintance to Miss Bradley. He was transported to the Sumter Police Department by City of Sumter officers to begin an investigation into the apparent death of Miss Bradley. During the course of the investigation early on, it was determined that Miss Bradley had 3 children. 12-year-old CJ was located within the apartment complex. 3-year-old Carter was later discovered with his father in Columbia after an exhaustive search. And 5-year-old Nevaeh remained missing. We learned that Nevaeh's father was DePray Adams, located him in the hopes that Nevaeh was with her father, and it proved that it was not true that she was not with him. We began a systematic search of a surrounding wooded area around Lantown Apartments by both K-9, tracking K-9, and officers on foot. At approximately 10:20 p.m., Johnson confesses to murdering both Cherie and Nevaeh.
I heard that.
He provided information to detectives during the course of the interview that he had placed Nevaeh's body in a dumpster on the property of Lantown Apartments. An immediate search of the area and the surrounding areas of all the dumpsters on the property was then conducted by law enforcement. We discovered that we had an opportunity to reach out to Foothill Search and Rescue from Simpsonville to bring in canines for cadaver purposes. We learned that once we determined that Nevaeh was placed in the dumpster, the process in our county is once the debris is picked up through the dumpster, the truck takes it to Brewington Road, which is a transfer station. In that case, the garbage is placed across a floor and then mechanically loaded into a vehicle. Officers from the police department and the Sumter County Sheriff's Office searched the debris that was at the location to no avail. We also discovered that there was 9 trucks of debris on the property, and we seized those trucks in the attempts of searching them in the early morning hours of the 6th at the landfill of Waste Management on Screaming Eagle Road. In the coming days, the search for Nevaeh continued when we notified the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have subject matter experts that have been involved in searches in landfills across the nation. They have developed a method that proves to be true in tracking all of the refuse trucks, both going to the transfer station and to Screaming Eagle Road.
Okay, let me fast forward this just a little bit. As I told y'all, it's a little bit long.
Yeah. As Chief Rourke has stated, once we knew that our mission was to search a landfill, we both realized that our agencies alone were not up to that task. I immediately reached out to Governor McMaster's office. I explained what the situation was, and we immediately supported our efforts by bringing the resources of Team South Carolina together, and also those local resources that we work with on a daily basis.
Let me speed this up a little bit. A lot of this is stuff we've already heard. Now, this is the part where I want y'all to listen, because they're going to explain how they sorted through the landfill. Listen to this guy. Right here, him. Here we go.
Thank you, Chief. So Chief Keel assigned me the privilege to coordinate Team South Carolina for this operation, and ultimately as the incident commander for all on-scene operations at the landfill. Behind me, you'll see a video that's playing that will depict several scenes from the overall operation. You'll see right here a drone footage that I'm going to describe in detail of what you're looking at. Cell 6 that we were concerned with and where we basically centered our operations around is where you see the hole that has been dug by South Carolina Department of Transportation. With their expertise and their excavation, they were able to remove the product from this cell. They were then able to transport it.
I want you guys to remember, and let me ask you guys this. How many of you guys will be willing to volunteer to sift through and search and stand in and be out there for hours and hours and hours at a time when it's triple degrees temperature and 4 million pounds of waste? How many of you guys will be out there? How many of you guys will volunteer to sort through a 4 million pound landfill?
To search pads such as this and lay it in a manner about 6 inches thick so that human searchers, state fire, and law enforcement could enter those search pads and search that area.
Yes, Jasmine, yes.
And we
The
constantly
answer is yes.
did that for the entire 5 weeks that we were out there. As you'll be able to see some of the equipment here, it was a daunting task that could not have been accomplished by one particular agency. It took everybody in this room. It took all the support to pull this feat off of having the fortunate opportunity to finding Nevaeh Adams. Like Chief said, it took 2 weeks to build and prepare the site before we could even enter it and bring all of our assets. Tri-County had to install the electrical grid. Sacramento Department of Transportation had to install roads before we could bring everything up on the landfill property, as you see here. This is our forensics area. We had forensic folks on site along with anthropologists from the Richland County Coroner's Office to process and identify anything that was found throughout the whole process throughout the 5 weeks. Once those 2 weeks were basically completed, we were then allowed to start searching on September 16th. We searched until October 21st, which was yesterday, and that gave us 25 days of searching.
Wow.
We had approximately 400 individuals from over 40 separate agencies.
Jaylena, that has not come out yet, but I'm assuming it's probably because the mother was trying to break up with him. They were having some issues. I'm assuming it was probably something like that.
Which included about 60 to 80 personnel every single day processing those search patterns, those search pads. And they went through approximately 4 million pounds of material. The search area is approximately 100 feet by 75 feet. This here is a GoPro video of one of the searchers as she entered the scene, as so many of the searchers did throughout the 5 weeks.
Brace yourselves, guys. They're getting ready to not show her body, but they're getting ready to show where they found Nevaeh. So brace yourselves.
You can see as DOT has meticulously laid out this material from cell 6. This is partial area of cell 6. The tarp that you see was a requirement that we had in covering the material each night to protect it from the environment that waste management required us to do. When you see this search area, if you'll follow with me, this area right here was the area that Nevaeh Adams was found
Wow.
on October 18th.
Y'all, look at that. Look at how small the people are, and look at how much trash is out there. The fact that they found her is, I don't even know what to say. That's a godsend for them to have found her through 4 million pounds of trash. And it took them that long to find her, but they did. And I can't thank them enough. Wow. Look at that.
Without the entire partnership of everybody standing in front of you, there's no way we could have accomplished it. I told them every single day that no matter what badge you wear, what uniform you wear, no matter who stands to the left or right of you, everybody was a part of this effort. I'm going to turn it over now to Attorney Joe.
So let me show you guys a screenshot. I'm going to show you guys something. This is a screenshot of all of the names of the people that participated in the search of finding Nevaeh's body. I'm going to blow this up on the screen so you guys can see this. just to see that there are a lot of names on here. I'm going to blow this up a little bit more. Can you guys see that? I took this as a screenshot from the video because I wanted to highlight this. Because too many times, as black people, we're always talking about who's holding us down, who's holding us back, who's not giving us in the black community, who's not doing this, who's not doing that. We always talk about how white is evil and it's this and that, right? We're always talking about they won't give us jobs, they won't give us opportunities, and they put us in the hoods, they put us in the ghettos. These pro-blacks, these conscious people, matter of fact, they keep trying to move the goalpost. They don't want to be called pro-blacks anymore. Now they're trying to call themselves conscious people. Well, whatever the hell they call themselves, I call them the people that are always blaming it on whitey, right? Those folks. But guess who it is that always comes behind us to clean up, to pick up the pieces, to make the arrest, to give adjudication in the courts, who participate on juries, who participate in the law system. It's always them and none of us. They're always the, what do you call those? The court-appointed attorneys? When our kind don't have money to pay for private counsel, right? We're always quick to talk about them in such a negative way when every single, even for GoFundMe's, we just think that GoFundMe just happens like magic or something. And I always joke about this because I always say it's whenever black people put up a GoFundMe like it's life insurance, we always count on the benevolence of white people to come in and donate, even though we call them every kind of bad name in the book. Those names are those same exact kind of people that still, even though you bite the hand that feeds you, still comes back to help you. Ain't that a bitch? I need you guys to get your space emojis ready. Are you guys ready? Let me know how many of you guys are ready for the space program today, boy, because I am ready for this one, right? I need you guys to get your rocket ship emojis, get your space emojis, your alien emojis, whatever you can get. I got mine right here. This is about the best I could do with regard to a rocket ship right there. I'm gonna put it in the chat so y'all can copy it if you ain't got your rocket ship. Because we're gonna put this dude, we're going to judge him before this case is even over. Because he's got 3 bodies that he's going to have to answer for in court. And I'm just saying, the luck of the draw to me says that he's guilty of at least one of them. And if he's guilty of at least one of them, then that's bad enough in itself. He's confessed to killing Nevaeh Adams as well as her mother. He confessed. So in my opinion, it is okay for us to vote for him to be on this awesome expedition that we call the space program. You know why? Because I believe instead of watching him languish in jail for 99 years, for 200 years, you know what I say? I say put him on a rocket ship, send him to outer space, and put him on a planet that just barely sustains life. And let that asshole die slowly. With nothing to eat, nothing to drink, no oxygen to breathe, and I hope his eyeballs would fall out of his head. Put him on the space program. That's what we say here at the Soto Podcast. That's our new thing. We are voting for him to be on the space program. If you guys believe that he needs to be on the space program, then put your space emojis, your rocket ship emojis in the chat. We, as a people, have to be done with putting our children in harm's way. There cannot continue to be excuses. We cannot turn around and be like, well, it was because of this and because of that. Well, if it... No. If you have children, stop. Ladies, stop. Stop doing all the dating. Stop doing all the random bringing dudes home from clubs, and stop bringing dudes home that you met on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, POF, all of this stuff. If you have children, stop. Stop for a moment. If you're going to go out with a guy, find babysitters. Matter of fact, this might be a noble goddamn idea. How about you just give the kid to the father for a few days or even a week? I'm sure he would have been happy to have his heavenly baby by the name of Nevaeh, aka Heaven. He would have been happy to take her and hold on to his baby while you go decide to date this murderous ass thug. Then, at least she would have gotten a chance and a fair shot at life with her father and his wife. I hope they throw the book at him, and I hope that they really do send that fool to outer space. I really do. I really, really do. He looks like an evil dude, and he just got the face of guilty. I'm sorry, he do. He look like he's guilty, and I don't care. Don't judge a book by its cover. Fuck that. We gonna judge a book by its cover, right? If you see a snake in the grass, we're not going to ask if it's poisonous. It's a goddamn snake. Until we find out otherwise, I'm just going to avoid the snake. Shout out to my brother Tommy Sotomayor, right? Thank you guys so much for listening to the story. This is such a tragic end, and thank you to everybody, every single person that emailed it to me. Don't send it to me on Facebook, but I do appreciate the people that send it on Facebook. I cannot follow those stories if you tag me on Facebook, if you inbox it to me on Facebook. Always utilize my email address. That's the best place for me to keep up with these, okay? But thank you to everybody that took a moment just to care. Anybody who posted a comment, anybody who sent $1, anybody who sent more than that, anybody who joined the channel membership. Thank you to everybody, all of the volunteers who sorted through 4 million pounds of trash. That has been sitting out there for a while. To everybody out there that's listening to the sound of my voice, if you watch my video, just know that DJ Just Jay and the AFC, which is the people in the chat down here, from our heart to yours, we appreciate y'all efforts for at least standing on principle and understanding that our babies cannot speak for themselves. They cannot defend themselves, and they are at the mercy of their caretakers. And I thank you guys for understanding that message, and thank you for showing it in your actions that these kids do matter. I really wish that the people that bring them into this world, the biological mother and the biological father, would do better to try to create these children in a stable household on a solid foundation. Nuclear families, mothers and fathers. When you date thugs, you date death. This is your boy DJ Just Jay. I'm signing out. Deuces, and I love you guys. I love you all. Thank you.